Hey Chiefs Kingdom, welcome into the Chiefs Report. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. You guys can give me a follow on Twitter at HGrahamNFL for more Chiefs and NFL updates. A lot of you guys have been asking for it. We're finally going to give it to you guys, a Chiefs mock draft. So we'll go ahead and jump on in. These picks are based on the current projected comp picks. Those have not been made official yet, so keep that in mind. All right, first round, number 31 overall, Teven Jenkins, the offensive tackle out of Oklahoma State, one of the many talented tackles in this class. This is a loaded draft for offensive linemen, especially the offensive tackle position, which is a good thing for the Chiefs because, as you guys know, Kansas City needs to figure things out on their offensive line. So I think, obviously, Teven Jenkins would be a good selection here. There's some other options. Liam Eichenberg was still on the board, but I like the pick of Jenkins. He's played both tackle spots, so he's got some versatility there. And I think he can play some guard if needed as well. You look at the depth chart, I mean, it speaks for itself, right? Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz both ended last year with major injury concerns, obviously, especially Fisher, who tore his Achilles. We don't know what his status will be for next season. Kelechi Osemele is a free agent. He also ended the season on IR. Austin Ryder's a free agent. Andrew Wiley, Stephen Wisniewski, lots of free agents. Mike Remmers are hitting the market for Kansas City. So I think offensive line has to be a major focus this offseason. And if you can get a tackle in the first round, I think that's a very good idea. So should the Chiefs go offensive line in round one? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Let's hear from you guys on this one. Do you want to see the Chiefs draft a lineman in the first round? Go ahead, get your votes in on that one. All right, we go to our next pick here. Baron Browning, the linebacker out of Ohio State. Really talented, has all the physical tools. Reminds me a lot of Willie Gay in the sense that he's got the talent, he's flashed. Never quite put it all together, though, at Ohio State in college for whatever reason, which I find very, very interesting for Baron Browning. But I think in the second round, or late second, early third is about where you would expect him to go. I think he's worth the gamble here because he's got the physical tools. It's just a matter of if Kansas City believes they can have him put it all together once he gets into their system. The raw numbers don't look that impressive. He played it some inside linebacker, played some outside linebacker. I'm intrigued by Browning. I'll be curious to see if he ends up getting, being a high draft pick because he was a highly recruited player dating back to his days in college. Forgot to mention this during our first selection of Teven Jenkins. These are some of the players on the board. Kadarius Toney, Liam Eichenberg, Mac Jones, Alex Leatherwood, Javonte Williams. See another couple of tackles. I opted for Jenkins. Here in round two, Trey Smith, the offensive guard out of Tennessee, Javon Holland, the safety out of Oregon, Amon-Ra St. Brown, the wide receiver out of USC, Chaz Surratt, the linebacker out of North Carolina, and then Carlos Basham Jr. These are some of the top players on the board when I selected Baron Browning, the linebacker out of Ohio State. So, again, I think it's going to come down to whether or not the Chiefs feel like they can plug him into their system and get the best out of him if that does end up happening. I like the pick. I like the value here in round number 2. I also love BetUS because you can make some money even throughout the offseason. Go to chatsports.com/ChiefsBet. Use that promo code Chiefs125. That'll get you a 125% deposit bonus when you sign up. There are some futures odds already out there for the Super Bowl next year. Chiefs are the favorites at plus 450. What does that mean? What's plus 450? That means if you put down $10, you'll win 45 if that ends up happening. For the Ravens, for example, put down $10, you'll win 110. Simple math there. Bucks at plus 700 as the defending champs. Packers plus 800. Bills and Ravens rounding out your top 5. There is money to be made with BetUS, so go to chatsports.com/ChiefsBet. Use our promo code Chiefs125 to make some money this offseason. All right, another Oklahoma State Cowboy in round 3, Tylan Wallace, the wide receiver. I think he would have been a first-round pick prior to his ACL injury last year, opted to go back to school, had another pretty good season as a senior. I love the value here in round 3. We know Sammy Watkins and Demarcus Robinson are free agents. Pringle is an exclusive rights free agent, so I think he will be back. But it's possible that the Chiefs could be looking for a number 2 wide receiver. Now, I think Tylan Wallace has a chance to be that type of guy. 922 yards, 6 touchdowns, put up huge numbers throughout his career at Oklahoma State, especially prior to the ACL injury, but I liked what I saw in terms of him bouncing back from the injury this past season. Thought he played pretty well in a shortened season. We'll see where things sit. Watkins, Pringle, and Robinson are free agents there, but I'll be curious to see if Kansas City takes a receiver in the first 3 rounds of the draft, because I definitely think that could be a possibility. Don't be shocked if it happens. Other players on the board of note: Quincy Roche, Jordan Smith, couple of edge rushers there. Amari Rogers, more of a slot receiver out of Clemson. I like Wallace more on the outside, maybe to replace Sammy Watkins. Tyler Shelvin, Andre Sisco on the board as well. I opted to go with wide receiver Tylan Wallace. I think he can play some outside. I think he can play some slot if needed. I'm not sure the Chiefs trust McCole Hardman as their number 3 wide receiver, so keep that, or number 2 wide receiver, so keep that in mind as we progress throughout this offseason. Should the Chiefs draft a receiver in the first 3 rounds? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. If Sammy Watkins isn't back, I think the answer is probably yes, so type your ones down in the comment section if you agree with me. If not, go ahead and type your 2 for no. Okay, next up is Darius Stills, round 4, pick number 136 here. Chiefs also have a 4th-round comp pick. We'll get to that in a second. Projected, at least, from the Kendall Fuller signing to Washington. Good athlete, a bit undersized. He's about 6'1", 285. I think he'll need to show that he can play some edge rusher, especially on passing downs if needed. So we'll have to wait and see, but he was very productive at West Virginia, a player I watched a lot living down here in Big 12 country. Did a little bit of everything last year. 25 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 7.5 tackles for loss. Had an interception, showing off the athleticism there. I definitely think that Stills in early on day 3 could be some good value for Kansas City or another team, obviously, if that ends up happening. So I go Darius Stills with the first 4th-round pick. We'll get to another one here in just a second. But if you want more NFL draft videos here on the Chiefs Report, we got you guys covered. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel. Hit that big red button, 100% free when you subscribe. I think that word scares some people away, but we're free, daily videos just about, so go ahead and subscribe. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV, daily videos throughout the offseason around your Kansas City Chiefs. All right, comp 4th-round pick, Jonathan Cooper, the edge out of Ohio State. Up and down, kind of like his teammate Baron Browning, never quite put it all together, but I thought he had a nice senior season, 3.5 sacks in just 8 games there, so I thought that was pretty good production for Cooper overall. The Chiefs need pass rush. Frank Clark, Chris Jones, they're pretty good, but they didn't play at a level that I think most Chiefs fans would expect, in my opinion. When you look at it this past year, 7.5 sacks, 6 sacks for Clark, 13.5 guys are combined for guys who are making each over $100 million. That's a bit of a problem. Alex Okafor, Michael Deanna, Tershawn Wharton, your next sack leaders there as well. You need more production. Hopefully that comes from some of the guys you have, but if not, you may want to consider drafting one in the NFL draft. Other players on the board in this range, remember 2 picks in this area. Rodarius Williams, the corner out of Oklahoma State. Trey Sermon, the Ohio State running back. Darius Washington, the safety out of TCU. James Wiggins, and Ramondre Stevenson. I opt to go edge rusher Jonathan Cooper out of Ohio State. So we will see what happens there. Before we get to our next pick, I'm going to ask you guys this question. Who will lead the Chiefs in sacks next season? Go ahead and predict it for me down in the comments. I'll say Chris Jones. I think he's still the best pass rusher on this team by a pretty wide margin, but if you disagree, you can go ahead and get your votes in. Shakur Brown, round 5, pick number 176, the cornerback out of Michigan State. The way this draft fell, I wasn't really able to get a corner earlier, which I probably would have preferred, but it just didn't happen that way. So I'll get Brown here in the 5th round. I think it's good value, though. I think Shakur Brown has a chance to be a pretty good player in the NFL. He can play nickel, he can play outside. I see some Rashad Fenton in his game where he's got that versatility. If he can come in and be a good special teams player, he can be a depth corner as well. I think that's definitely a possibility. And Travarius Ward and Bashad Breeland are free agents, so there's no guarantee that those 2 guys come back. Obviously, look at the production here. 5 picks this past year, 4 pass breakups, only in 7 games, played in a limited schedule for Michigan State in the Big Ten. That is very, very productive at the end of the day. So I like this pick of Shakur Brown in round 5. 5th round comp pick, another defensive back, Tyree Gillespie out of Missouri, round 5 pick number 180. Good tackler, more of a strong safety, which could be a fit because I think he has a chance to be a number 3 safety in the NFL. Dan Sorensen's a free agent. Possible he's not back next year, so you could roll with Tyrann Mathieu and Juan Thornhill as your starters, and Gillespie as your 3rd safety, special teams contributor. I think that could be an option there for Kansas City. Good tackler, like I said. Great special teams player, decent in coverage. I think he has a chance, if he can play on special teams, to be a contributor at the next level. But you get into the 3rd round, or the 5th round, day 3 of the draft. It's kind of a crapshoot at this point. What is the bigger need, safety or corner? Here's what you guys have to say. It's kind of a tough call. I'd probably still lean corner, but I think you could use another safety as well, which is why I tried to draft both in this particular mock draft. So let me know what you guys think. Safety or corner, what is the bigger need for the Kansas City Chiefs? Okay, last pick here. Round 7, Jalen Darden. Don't have a 6th round pick as of now because of the Takarius Keys trade, Bo Peep Keys from last year. Huge senior season, this kid. I would love this in round 6 or 7 for Kansas City. Versatile player, played some slot outside. Obviously, he's undersized at 5'9", 170, but look at the production from this kid. 74 catches, almost 1,200 yards, over 16 yards per catch, and 19 touchdowns. That's pretty damn impressive for Jalen Darden coming out of North Texas. So, hey, if the Chiefs if anybody can maximize a kid like this, I definitely think Kansas City is the team to do it. I would love to see him get a chance with the Kansas City Chiefs. So grade my mock draft, A, B, C, D, or F. Go ahead and let me know what you guys think. We'll plug out a few of these between now and April's draft. You've been patient. I appreciate it. Get your grades in on this one, A, B, C, D, or F. If you need a fresh reminder, we'll go back through the picks here just real quick. My day 1 and day 2 picks here, Teven Jenkins, the tackle out of Oklahoma State, Baron Browning, and then Tylan Wallace out of Oklahoma State as well. Those are my day 1 and day 2 picks. And then day 3 picks, Rodarius, excuse me, that's the wrong graphic there. Ignore that. Darius Stills, Jonathan Cooper, Shakur Brown, Tyree Gillespie, Jalen Darden. Those were the day 3 picks there, getting those picks in round 4, 5, and 7. Again, no 6th round pick. Grade it for me, A, B, C, D, or F. Appreciate the patience. Let me know what you guys think about my mock in the comments section.